And she finally said, yes, your grandmother Dorothy's gay. And I said, well, how would you know that? And she said, because I accidentally walked in on her and Alice in the bed. They were in bed together. I said, oh, okay.
Hello, my name is Kay Anderson, and you are listening to Lost Spaces, the podcast that mourns the death of queer nightlife. Every episode, I talk to a different person about a venue from their past, the memories that they created there, and the people that they used to know. So this week, we are joined by CJ Johnson from the true crime podcast Beyond the Rainbow, who is taking us to the Lavender Heights area, and Lavender Heights is their name for neighborhood, which I think is kind of adorable, of Sacramento, California, to visit the lesbian bar, the Buffalo Club. And along the way, we find out about CJ's coming out, her lesbian grandma that kept a secret from the family, and her weakness for blondes. Shall we get into it? So, we're headed back to the 90s.
We are.
That's quite exciting. What do you remember most about the 90s?
Oh, boy. Coming out. That was a huge thing for me. I knew when I was in junior high, I had crushes on girls, and I would come home and look through my teen magazine just for something to tell me it was okay and normal to have crushes on your friends. And lo and behold, one day I found an article in the magazine that said, yes, girls get crushes on other girls and it's perfectly okay. So I didn't think I was gay. I just thought I was a normal teenage girl.
But so was this article like you might be gay or you might not be heterosexual, or was it just like it's something that everyone goes through?
I think after I read that article, I thought, it's something probably we all go through, but we don't need to talk about it.
And so had you experienced crushes on men, or well, boys, I should say, or was it just that wasn't on your radar at all?
I figured, okay, in high school, I would develop huge crushes on my gay guy friends. At least I didn't know that they were gay, most of them. But I had these huge crushes on them. They were effeminate, but they were socially acceptable because they were guys, but yet they met all my needs emotionally because they were effeminate. Does that make sense?
That doesn't mean they meet your needs emotionally, though, does it?
They met my needs emotionally because I could talk to them about just about anything.
And they didn't try anything on.
No. It was perfect. They were my beards and I think I was theirs.
So did you actually date them then?
I did. In fact, I had a boyfriend for about a year and a half in high school. He actually came out later in life too.
Oh, fascinating. And so you read this article and you were like, okay, it's perfectly natural and normal for me to have crushes on girls. I'm going to keeping on. I'm not going to worry about it. But so at that point, did you think, oh yeah, well, I'm just heterosexual and this is totally what everyone goes through? Or did you have any kind of inkling that you were not?
Well, the thing is I didn't really think about it too much after I read that article. I just went along with my life and dating boys until my 20s, and that was in the 90s. I won't tell you what year in the 90s.
We're not into age shaming here, don't worry.
Oh, good. I appreciate that. And then I believe I had a little nervous breakdown in the 90s.
Oh,
I knew that I was not straight. I didn't think I was bisexual. In fact, I went through a time where I'd get really upset with bisexual people. And just kind of shout to myself in my head, make up your fucking mind. Are you gay or are you straight? You can't have
Ah.
both. But I was wrong. I think it just takes a little bit of maturing and reading and just informing yourself and educating yourself to learn that there are all types of sexualities in this world. And it's
Mhm.
okay. If it doesn't affect you, why should it bother you?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I didn't think I was bi. I knew I wasn't straight. And I would get these horrible, strong crushes on certain girls. There was a time that I had just left work and I went grocery shopping and I was checking out and I just started laughing and crying at the same time. And I think that was my little mental breakdown because I didn't want to tell my family. I didn't want to tell my friends and I was hiding this great secret and it was just
Mhm.
a horrible feeling.
And so was it a secret that you had acted upon? Like, had you done anything? Had you met anyone? Had
I
you
had. I
Okay.
had met this I have a thing for blondes for some reason, but I had met this blonde girl that and okay, here I am. I'm going to start dating myself, but nobody else will, so why not, right?
Boom ching, yeah.
But I'm bummed. So I had met this blonde girl on what it was when we had modem dial up,
Oh,
and we had these things. The one I was on was called All Walks of Life, and they were modem user communities. It was like a poor man's Twitter, if you will.
oh, okay.
And I had met her at a pizza thing because they had a get together. And their chat rooms, you could only have like 4 people at a time in them back then. But I met her and I was just like, "Oh, she's beautiful." She was had blonde, kind of flipped back feathered hair. She was sporty, and I liked that. She was a softball player, and I was just like, "Whoa, she's gorgeous. I must have her." And she wanted nothing to do with me because I was the quote unquote straight girl. And, I just thought that, okay. But I
Ah.
kept pursuing and I think I just tried way too hard.
So what does pursuing mean?
Just telling her how much I liked her and I'd send her little notes and leave things on her car. I was almost stalkerish, I think, now that
Oh.
I think about it. But nice things like, a teddy bear, a flower, have a nice day note, things like that. I was being romantic, I thought. But now that I think about it in hindsight, I think I was being a little freaking stalkerish.
Simpler times, simpler times.
I guess. In youth, the young love feeling. I was head over heels for her. And it turned out to be a case of careful what you wish for
Ooh.
because I got her in the end. Oh, that didn't sound right, did it?
Oh, God. And this is a terrible message that we're sending out. If you're interested in anyone, listeners, just stalk them and then you'll win them over.
That's right. But we were together for 18 years and had a beautiful daughter.
Oh, okay. That sounds like it kind of worked out.
It did. I have to say, I believe that I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for 18 years,
Oh, okay.
but I stuck through it because I wanted my daughter to have both her parents.
Hmm.
And in the end, the when I was head over heels for her, left us when our daughter was 11, and we tried the shared custody thing and that just didn't work out very well because and she's the birth mom, could only spend maybe 2 days together. They fought like siblings. It was
Oh.
crazy. And I've always had this nurturing sense about me, I guess. That's why I worked with children for so long.
Hmm.
And my daughter stayed with me and doesn't see the other mother ever.
Oh.
There's other things like mental health issues and things like that, but it's okay now. And when she left us, I lost 110 pounds, and it was just so freeing.
Oh, convert that into kilos for me. How much is that?
Oh, no, I just don't know. I'm sorry, I did not come let me Google it.
No, let me. 110 pounds. Sorry, it just never means anything to me. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's a lot.
How much is that in kilos?
It's almost 50 kilos.
Wow, that's a lot of drugs.
Yeah. Okay, we're going all over the place. So let's go back to the supermarket when you had what you
My little
referred
mental
to as a
breakdown.
breakdown. Yeah. So what happened? Like, how long did that last?
The mental breakdown, it only, oh, I don't know. I think it was a rough year. That was the year I came out. And I do remember, and I'll try to bring it back to my lost space here. I do remember going to a gay club in downtown Sacramento. It was in an area called Lavender Heights.
Mm-hmm.
And this club, it wasn't just a gay club. And I guess most, see, I don't do the clubs anymore, but I guess most clubs, they attract straight people, bisexual people, all kinds of sexual
All
identities,
kinds of sexuals. I love that.
all kind of sexuals. And I was at this one called Faces, and it's still around today. And they have like 3 different dance rooms. And I went in and I was mortified to see this girl that worked for me in the club. And she's all, don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm just here with my best friend who happened to be a lesbian. And this girl at the time, she reminded me of when Kirstie Alley, the actress, was pretty. That's kind of what this girl looked like. So I was there at Faces with some of my friends that were lesbians that I had just met online. Same way that I met the one I had the crush on. So I saw her and she told me, don't worry about it. And we talked a little bit, and I immediately started feeling a little bit better because I was thinking, she's not going to out me to everyone. It's all good. And she's beautiful. So I grabbed her hand and I said, come with me. And we went over to where my friends were sitting. And at the time I had bought 2 Melissa Etheridge tickets and I was looking for a date, and my friends knew it. So I ran up there holding the girl that worked for me's hand, and I said, I found my date. And you should have seen my friends' faces because this girl was pretty, and their jaws just dropped to the ground. Like, how did you score such a babe? Hey, I'm just smooth. I just came out, but I'm smooth with the ladies.
Well, and who would say no to Melissa Etheridge, right?
Well, no, I really wasn't going to take her. I still was looking for a date. So I had to put an ad in the Penny Saver.
To find a date.
Yes, to find a date to Melissa Etheridge, because I didn't really know anyone except the lesbians that were very butchy, and I kind of
That's
like,
so exciting. So you like wrote an ad to say, I have 2 tickets for Melissa
oh,
Etheridge and I
hell
want
no.
someone to come with me.
Oh, no, I would have got all kind of riffraff. I was looking for someone, and I needed to interview, so to speak, these potential dates to Melissa Etheridge. And I found one, and her name was Penny. And I didn't realize it at the time. She was a little bit younger than me, which is great because I grew up as a cougar.
Wait, you grew up as a cougar?
I grew up to be a cougar,
Okay.
and I'm proud of that. But
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. I was just thinking, how could you be like an 18-year-old cougar just based on what you were saying? Sorry.
but this one, she had a fake ID, and she must have been 18. But she told me she was 19, I think. So I started to date her, and we used to go to my very, very favorite club that is a lost space. It was called the Buffalo Club, and I loved it because it was a lesbian bar.
Wait, we're going all over the place.
I know, but I was trying to bring it back to my lost space.
Okay, all right, we will get there.
Oh, okay.
Let's just.
I'll let
let's-
you guide me
let's-
then.
Let's take it back
Okay.
to the coming out. So you had this moment of realization in the supermarket.
Yes.
We need to finish this story. You had this moment of realization in the supermarket, and you were particularly worried about coming out to your family. did you get that opportunity?
Oh, yeah. They met Penny, the one I've been telling you
Oh,
about.
okay.
Well, my mom didn't. My dad did because at the time my parents weren't living together. But I
Uh,
had brought Penny by my dad's house, and my grandmother was there, my dad's mom, who also was a lesbian, by the way. So
oh,
don't tell me that it's not in my genes. So they met her, and the only thing my dad had to say that wasn't positive was that girl had a nose ring.
observant.
He just was observant. Yeah, that was
But was
it.
that your coming out? Were you like, here, this is Penny. Also, by the way, I'm a lesbian.
No, I didn't really come out and say it to anyone, but they knew that I liked girls.
Okay.
And then when I introduced him to my person that I had the major crush on after we got together, the one I was with for 18 years, my
Yeah.
baby mama.
Okay, let's call it that from now on, baby mama.
Baby mama. Well, I call her something much worse now. I call her the incubator. But anyway,
Well, let's not call her that. Let's call her baby
we'll call
mama.
her baby mama. I introduced him to baby mama, and then baby mama moved in with me like almost immediately. Her idea.
Telltale sign of lesbianism. Yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of got the idea after that when she moved in with me that we were a couple. They did not like her at all. And it wasn't because I found out later in life. It wasn't because she was a lesbian. And it wasn't because they hated my lifestyle. They did not like her.
Ah.
And I should have known that because she wasn't very nice to them and they were not the best to her. So.
And did that create problems with your relationship with them?
I do believe that their love was unconditional, and I think they got past it. But I felt like there was a lot of turmoil where I had to fight for my relationship, and if I didn't, my relationship was going to go south.
What do you mean by that? Like you had to fight to prove to them it was legitimate, or?
Well, okay, for instance, my brother got married and he didn't want to invite the both of us because he was afraid we'd be holding hands or something stupid. And that really took a toll on baby mama. She was
Yeah.
mad because I didn't fight for us.
Yeah.
I think that just harbored a lot of resentment in our relationship.
It's so difficult, isn't it? Like when I was younger, I was so much more strident about it. Like, no, you're going to take me as I am and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know whether I'm just mellowing as I get older. Oh, I hate saying that, mellowing. I don't want to mellow. But I can kind of understand other people's perspectives in relation to that. But it's a super fucked up thing and you shouldn't ask someone to do it.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. I've never really sat down and really thought about it too much. But yeah, I guess I could see other people's perspective on it.
It's just this tough thing. And
It
I
is.
think one of the things that I've always wrestled with in terms of lots of the conflict that I've had with my parents over the years has been when they have been trying to protect me by saying, oh, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But all I'm perceiving that as is, you don't want me to be myself.
Right.
And now, with a bit of hindsight, I can understand better where they were coming from, but it also still really hurts.
So you can understand now that they were trying to be protective of you and keep you safe. But at the time, when you're younger, you don't think like that.
No.
You think
Well, because
this
you're
is
like,
my
I'm going to
life.
take on the world. I know everything.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But
That's
it is
true.
also really like, and again, I feel like I'm over explaining this. I understand where they're coming from, but it's a kind of shit thing to say, like, everyone else has a problem, so you need to change because everyone else has a problem.
Right.
And maybe it's the most pragmatic thing to do, the easiest thing to do, but it's just jarring.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it sounds as though you didn't actually come out, you just were out.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't have to say it.
So you never had a conversation about it with your family?
No, they kind of just knew I was with baby mama. And then when the baby came 6 years into my relationship, they definitely knew.
So they weren't just like, they're just really close roommates.
Well, yeah, because, they never really talked too much about my grandma, who was a lesbian.
Oh, yeah. So let's find out about this. Was she out then, or was it just like a family secret? Like everyone knew, but no one talked about
It
it?
was kind of a family secret. So
Ah.
my grandmother lived with her partner for probably 40 plus years, and they managed apartments. And my mom finally, as I was an adult, told me that my grandma was gay. I didn't know.
Hmm.
And she finally said, "Yes, your grandmother Dorothy's gay." And I said, "Well, how would you know that?" And she said, "Because I accidentally walked in on her and Alice in the bed. They were in bed together." I said, "Oh, okay."
But, well, I mean, they could have just been sleeping.
Just
Um,
cuddling.
so I'm going to go out on a limb here and say your family is not that great at talking about things.
I guess.
Okay, so I realize we're jumping around. So this is the coming out, and then there's Penny. So what happened with Penny?
What happened with Penny? Well, it turned out I believe Penny was on big time drugs.
Oh,
So Penny moved away, which was good for me, actually. And that's when I got with baby mama.
okay.
Oh, it took me getting with a woman to get baby mama, by the way.
Oh,
Then I was no
to
longer that
prove your
straight girl.
legitimacy and to get a bit of practice in, right?
Yeah.
Have her train you, and then baby mama can come in. And so, this world that was opened up to you, then you had found some women online and then started going out.
Hmm.
What was that like?
It was safe. I felt really safe with them. I don't know.
Hmm.
I felt like home, I guess.
And at this point, were you like, yep, I'm definitely lesbo? Or were you still thinking, let me just see what happens?
No, I flew out of that closet.
Ah.
And I was called a soft butch.
Oh. So you didn't designate that title for yourself?
No. Baby
Ah.
butch. That's what the older lesbians I was hanging out with called me. Baby butch.
How did you feel about that?
I wasn't sure. In fact, it was really hard to even say the word lesbian for a long time.
Ah. Did you have a term that you preferred, or was it just the fact that saying it out loud was terrifying?
I think saying it out loud was terrifying because it made it real.
Yeah, and that can be quite confronting when you're around people who are very comfortable with their sexuality and you're like, I'm not quite there yet.
Right. And going to the gay clubs and using the women's bathroom was not the women's bathroom. It was a free for all. And that just kind of freaked me out also.
Oh, really? See, this is the thing I quite like about free-for-all bathrooms is that it feels a bit more, I don't want to say community because you don't want to talk about a toilet as though it's a community, but like it feels a bit more kind of relaxed and a bit more fun.
Maybe now it would for me, but back then when I was first coming out, I was terrified.
Because it's just too much at once.
It was just very confusing to me, I think. But when I first came out, that first year, I did get to go to a pride parade in San Francisco.
Oh, that is flying out of the closet.
It was. And I don't even know if I was totally out yet. There was a lesbian at my work, and she invited me, and I went with her and her girlfriend, and it was just a blast. So I knew after that, oh, yeah, I am totally a lesbian.
So, okay, so we've been to San Francisco, we've been to the Pride Parade, now we're coming back. We're going to Faces.
I've taken you everywhere.
Oh, no, I mean, this is usual. Hopefully my listeners are used to this moving around all over the place. We went to Faces, and this is the bar that still exists, but is this the first gay bar that you ever went to?
No, actually, I think the Buff was. The Buffalo Club.
Okay, which is what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. That was my very favorite one, the lesbian bar.
So tell me about the Buffalo Club, or the Buff as you've just referred to it.
The Buff, that was the place. It had a bar. It had a little dance floor. It had an outdoor patio, which I think was my favorite. They sometimes had live music. It was just such a neat atmosphere and so chill. And there was this adorable blonde bartender named
Oh,
Lisa
here we go.
that worked there, and I had a huge crush on her. Tats and all.
And so do you remember the first time you ever went?
No, because when I'd go to the buff, I drank.
Oh,
I don't remember a lot, but I do remember I had a good time there. I loved being at the buff. I took Penny there, uh, Baby Mama, all of them. Any of the women I dated, as long as the buff was open, I took them there.
and so when the Buff or the Buffalo Club closed, like, were you aware that that was happening?
No, I wasn't because I actually had stopped going to the bars because I was with Baby Mama.
So when did you realize then?
After someone I had worked with told me.
How did you respond?
I was a little sad because, I had some good non-memories I don't remember because I was too drunk from
But
the
fond
buff.
feelings nonetheless.
Yes. It just was such a kickback casual place. And I'll report when I do my true crime podcast. I'll report a little bit if I cover a gay bar that had a shooting. Like there was one in Virginia, lesbian bar, and it sounds like it was a lot like the buff. They had the patio outside and the dance floor inside and the bar inside, and it brought back a lot of memories about the buff when I was researching it.
So let's go back in time, right? The Buffalo was the first place that you ever went to.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back in time to that first night that you ever went there. And let's say you jumped in a time machine and you got the opportunity to talk to the CJ that was going there for the very first time. What advice would you give her?
To be confident in yourself, that it's okay, it's not a phase. Maybe don't drink quite as much because you need to remember some things. I think mostly just the confidence. Confidence is
Yeah.
sexy, and when you don't have it, you're it's hard to find someone if that's what you're after, looking for,
Yeah. How do you find confidence?
within yourself. You just have to pull it from within and fake it until you make it. You don't believe me, do you?
No, I think it's very good advice, and it's advice you hear often, but it's hard to hear that advice when you don't have confidence because, like, where do you pluck it from?
That's true. But like I said, it has to come from within yourself. And if you don't honestly have it, you kind of have to fake it without sounding like a cocky asshole.
Ooh, and that's where it gets really tricky, right?
Yes. Yes. Because, I've mistaken people's confidence for being full of themselves many times. And being full of yourself is not a fucking good look.
No, but have you also done the thing where you've tried to be like, I'm going to be confident and I'm going to be like outgoing and fun and friendly, and then you just feel like you're really obnoxious and annoying?
Yes.
Yeah.
But just having confidence in yourself enough to be able to look somebody in the eye and talk to them, that's huge. Not putting yourself down is huge.
Yes, that is huge. Putting yourself down before anyone else has the chance to, right?
Right. I think it's a lot about how you carry yourself too. Sitting up straight and looking people directly in the eyes and not mumbling when you're talking to them. I think that's important.
And recognizing that most people are full of absolute shit. I think that's been my biggest learning.
That most people are full of shit.
Yeah. Like, if you actually sit and listen to what most people are saying when they're saying it to you, you're like, oh, you're not actually saying anything. You're just saying it confidently.
Wow, you just totally blew my whole interview out of the water, didn't you,
No,
Kate?
no. Do you have any memories of the Buffalo Club or clubbing from your own queer scene that you want to share? Well, if you do, I would love to hear from you, so please get in touch. I want to create the biggest online record of people's memories and stories of queer clubbing. Go to Lost Spaces Podcast and find the section Share a Lost Space, and then tell me all about what it is you got up to. You can also reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where my handle is Lost Spaces Pod. Find out more about CJ by listening to the Beyond the Rainbow podcast, wherever you find podcasts, or by visiting her website, beyondtherainbowpodcast.com. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate if you subscribed, left a review on your podcast platform, or just told people who you think might be interested in giving it a little listen too. My name is Kay Anderson, and you have been listening to Lost Spaces.